It was 35 degrees today here as well, and my room is a fucking sauna.
Was it 35 degrees there?
Yeah, it was gross AF.
Shit.
Unhappy. I've got a big old fan in my room. Big old fan. Can't have it on.
Why?
Podcasting. Too much background noise.
Why don't you open a window?
Nah, open on a main road, so you just hear the cars.
I'd like to hear the cars.
No. I'll send you the raw audio, and you can hear it in the background anyway.
Thank you. I'll use it to put myself to sleep.
Yeah. Well, actually, weirdly enough, I have been having the fan on when it's been hot at night, and it is like a white noise machine. It's quite nice.
Well, you know what they say about fans?
You got to have them.
Got to have them. If you put a fan, so you get the fan and you open up a window and you face the fan out the window, it actually helps to get the hot air out the room.
That's what they say about fans. If you put them at the door and face them away from the window, it helps to get the hot air out of the window. End quote.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I think it comes from Latin, doesn't it?
It's pig Latin.
It does sound like pig Latin, but maybe that's just your singlet.
My singlet says bulls on it.
I like that you've actually got some muscle tone.
Shut up.
Just flirting.
So I was going to tell you this story around Christmas time because I had an incident. It wasn't an incident, but I was boarding an airplane, and I had purchased this airplane seat. I like to be next to the window because I'm a child, and so I purposefully purchased a seat next, to the window. It was 6F, right? And when I got there, there was this
business class.
There was this little kid, probably about 3 years old, staring out the window with his mum.
Mm-hmm.
Probably his first plane ride ever, and he was in my seat, and I was like, I don't know, should I kick this kid out? And I kicked him out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Is that fair enough?
You spent money.
I felt guilty the whole time.
No, so here's the thing. If you had just been randomly allocated a seat, and you just so happened to get the window seat, and you were going to sit there and you were going to enjoy it, but there was a kid in the aisle, and the mum says, "Oh, would you mind if the kid sat in the thing?" You fair enough. I think that's a reasonable question to ask, and probably in that instance, you've flown before. It's his first time. Let him see out the window. You spent money, and I think if you said to that woman, if she had so asked, or she'd looked a little bit sour, or well, you would have had to speak to her presumably to ask her to move the kid out, right?
No, I spoke directly to the kid.
Oh, okay. So in that context, if the kid kicked up a fuss, you say, "Sorry, I spent $15 to get this window seat because I like to see when the big plane goes up in the air." He'd be like, "Yeah, fair enough, mate. Yep, yeah, totally get it. I'll ask Mum to put that deposit down in the future."
I did consider halfway through, offering the seat up, but I love looking at the window.
Here's a suggestion.
I love seeing the big planes.
Could have offered to have him on your lap.
Yeah.
Excuse me, miss. I did actually pay for this seat again because I like seeing all the birds. But if you like, he could strap onto my lap.
Yeah, it wasn't really my type, but after a few VBs, you got those big goggles on.
Holy fuck. Oh, welcome to Deep Fort. I don't know. I think this is the best. We'll leave that there. Whew, this is a podcast. There's no way to sum up what that was. So instead, I'll just say, sitting through the internet with me is Michael. Say hi, Michael.
What's up?
Oh, he's in sport mode today.
Pretty good, yeah.
Big Bulls fan. What sport do the Bulls play in?
They play in the rodeo?
Nope, basketball. And my name's Nick. Hi, Nick. Hi. It's been a busy.
Do you reckon anyone's ever said? Sorry, just cut you off. Do you reckon this is important? Do you reckon anyone's been at a rodeo for the first time?
I think everyone at some point who's attended a rodeo, it was their first time.
Okay. I didn't frame that correctly. You think anyone's been at the rodeo the first time? No. Do you think anyone? Oh, fuck this.
No, you've interrupted, so you've got to see this through now.
Do you think anyone's been at a couple of actual rodeos, and then they've said the sentence, "This isn't my first rodeo," because it was related to the rodeo? It was specifically related.
How did you struggle to get there? So repeatedly.
There was two avenues. There were two avenues I could have gone.
Yeah. I don't know why you started with it being... you kept saying it was a singular rodeo, where clearly the phrase requires there to have been multiple rodeos. So I don't know why you're fixated on the idea of it being their first rodeo.
But I was going to go... I was going to go down the...
Oh, you're going to go the negative.
What if someone said...
This is my first rodeo.
Sorry, this is my first rodeo. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, and then partway through, after a couple of fumbles, you thought, okay, let's try it the other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Worth interrupting.
Yeah. Coronavirus. That's a thing, eh?
Are you worried? Scared?
Well, let's set up the topic, I suppose, in that we're going to talk a little bit about healthcare, maybe today. Talk about how illnesses and our treatments, not specifically, I suppose, but I suppose we could disclose what our illnesses are, but how we deal with and approach medicine and taking care of yourself. But it's all come it's all come to light in... Okay, just for context of an audio podcast, when I said taking care of yourself, Michael picked up a bottle of wine and poured himself a heavy glass.
Red wine. Healthy.
Perfect for a 32-degree day.
That's all I've got.
The coronavirus has been the talk of the town. You seemed quite surprised when I said the other day that 10% of the world's population is in quarantine due to coronavirus, predominantly, as you'd expect, in China. 10% of the world's population is currently restricted due to this epidemic.
So what is that? I was a bit drunk when you sent me that message, and then I immediately just started thinking about everyone being in a massive tent.
Yeah, they're in a tent.
Hazmat suits. And then I realized that today that you probably meant that they just have no flying people not being able to fly out.
Yeah, they're limited in terms of their travel and transit and that sort of thing. Let me just try and grab that article up, and I can quote you.
Come on and grab that
article up.
Come on and grab that
article up.
Are we a German sci-fi band now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's read a little. China has flooded cities and villages with battalions of neighborhood busybodies, uniformed volunteers, and Communist Party representatives to carry out one of the biggest social control campaigns in history. The goal: to keep hundreds of millions of people away from everyone but their closest kin. The nation's battling the coronavirus outbreak with a grassroots mobilization reminiscent of Mao-style mass crusades not seen in China in decades, essentially entrusting the frontline epidemic prevention to a supercharged version of a neighborhood watch. Housing complexes in some cities have issued the equivalents of paper hall passes to regulate how often residents leave their homes. Apartment buildings have turned away their own tenants if they've come from out of town. Train stations block people from entering cities if they cannot prove they live or work there. In the countryside, villages have been gated off with vehicles, tents, and other improvised barriers. Residential lockdowns of varying strictness, from checkpoints at building entrances to hard limits on going outdoors, now cover at least 760 million people in China, or more than half the country's population. That is, of course, where the number of 1/10 of the world's population comes from. So, I think that's enough of the specificity for you to answer your question, which is, how are these people being restricted? So it is within the towns, it is at limits to building, and it is sort of intercity travel in that sort of way as well, on trains and transit.
Yeah.
So the scale of this thing is kind of amazing, right? How quickly it's become not just there's been a couple of instances, but now there's been, 1,300 deaths?
1,300 deaths.
Is that right? I'll check
I
it.
don't
I'll
know.
check a current tally as you speak.
So, do you know what the symptoms are?
It's just like a flu, right?
Oh. But don't more people die from the flu every year?
Uh,
Isn't that a stat? That's why people were saying don't be too
Okay.
worried about coronavirus. Everyone dies of the flu.
yeah. So
You turn green.
coronaviruses are primarily spread through close contact from coughs and sneezes within a range of about 1.8 meters.
That's so long, by the way.
Yeah, that's wild, eh?
1.8 meters.
Yeah. As of the 16th of February 2020, there were 69,000 confirmed cases of infection, of which 68,000 were within mainland China. The total number of deaths attributed to the virus was 1,669 deaths as of 16th of February. Over 95% of all deaths occurred in the Hubei province where Wuhan is located. So yeah, that's closing in on 2,000 deaths. And 79,000 confirmed cases. 70,000 confirmed cases of infection.
I gotta say, Wuhan sounds like more of a fun place than it probably actually is.
Yeah, but the like I said, the scale of this thing, there always seems to be like a little bit of a. Like, it's interesting news when you get like a virus that pops up, right? And I think the media like to cover that stuff. And I don't think necessarily that when this one popped up, my first reaction was, oh, this is going to kill, 2,000 people and infect, tens of thousands around the world, right? You tend to kind of write it off a little bit, don't you? When was the point for you in which you started paying more attention to it because it actually seemed like a bit of a serious thing?
I think it was probably after like a week and a half or maybe 2 weeks of it being in the news constantly. But I didn't really pay it that much attention, to be honest. I'm a bit bored of it. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I find these things like the media uses them because it's a perfect story in a way because it's a disease that you could hypothetically get anywhere in the world if it spreads. So the proximity thing, it's not like this is just happening in some place in China. The threat there from the media's perspective is that this could come to you. This could come and affect you from all the way over there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not really. I'm not worried about it. And kind of like what you said. What did you say before?
When did it
You said
cross the barrier from being like, oh, there's lots of you see coverage of other infections and things, and it doesn't quite seem important?
Well, there was a point there. I was going to relate it back to what you said, but then I forgot what you said.
That's all right. I'll in the edit, I'll just listen back to what I said. Try and reverse engineer what your point was, and I'll just paste my line in to sum up your summary. Does that work?
Yeah, just try and sound like me.
Okay. I'll do my best Michael impression. The interesting thing, I think, around the coverage of this coronavirus has not actually been the disease itself. I mean, as far as the actual illness goes, like it has been killing some people. I think like most flus, it tends to be more of a risk for people with pre-existing lung issues or, diseases or age. It doesn't seem like it's been... like people who survived it or had the illness and got through it described it as just like a really heavy flu. Like they wouldn't have realized that they had the virus if it hadn't been sort of publicized or they'd gone and checked it.
Oh, right.
But so the actual disease itself isn't predominantly isn't for me the most interesting thing about it. I think what's been most interesting is in watching the reactions to it. As you say, the media coverage has been interesting, but also it feels like we've seen like there's been a real interesting racial undercurrent to it all, right? We know there's been reports of people in public transport on the other side of the world just abusing people of Chinese origin because they're afraid, or that they think that they're carrying the virus or something, which is completely irrational.
Yeah.
There's been stories about people who were abused on transport who were born in like Canada but Chinese origin, literally never been to the mainland, and reports of my dad was saying, my dad goes to Chinatown in Adelaide all the time, and he says, and by all the time I mean 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. He has said that Chinatown is just completely empty, just abandoned. People have not been going to Chinese to Chinatown as a result
because
of
of no.
Truly, yeah.
You
So-
think that people are avoiding Chinatown and Adelaide because of
100%.
coronavirus?
100%. Yeah.
What?
So this is what I find the most interesting aspect of it is seeing the ways in which these kind of fears have affected places that are not really at risk of anything. What's your impression been in terms of the media coverage, and have you seen any sort of like racial element play into this?
Yeah, Sean posted up a graphic the other day, which was an interesting graphic, that saying that a lot of the panic, if it's panic or fear that's been spread, is like racially charged.
Yeah.
Which I think it is to a degree. I mean, people are obviously misinformed. I don't think. I mean, did this happen with the Ebola stuff, or are we just not in contact with African people as much as Chinese people because of the
distance
geography?
thing? Yeah,
I remember that happened.
I think you're right. I don't think the Ebola virus led to a certain degree of like racial fear about seeing a black person in like Australian streets, right? It didn't come with that kind of note to the coverage.
No, I wonder if that is because of our proximity to China.
I think
Or
so.
we have so much to do with China.
But I think
Yes.
like there's also not an Africa town, is it? Like in terms of proportion of migrant culture in the country,
Sure.
it's not like you can avoid, the big African district in Adelaide. It doesn't have the same sort of presence, I suppose. So, which again is probably geography, as you said.
I've seen there's obviously a large Asian population in Melbourne, and I've seen now started to see a few Caucasian-looking folks with the old mask,
Oh,
and probably an increase, like seeing them out in the street among people of Asian appearance as well. Like I was on the tram the
do you
other day.
think that's
Hates
directly
people,
coronavirus?
Maybe I'm just noticing it more because I'm seeing it on the news, and it's become like this symbol
Yeah.
now of virus, which apparently they don't even.
Yeah,
really
well, that's the
work.
thing. I saw that coverage as well, that most like off-the-shelf masks are not actually going to stop the particulates from...
They got like Louis Vuitton ones as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they
Oh,
look
well,
good.
now I'm
I mean,
interested.
another interesting side part about the virus is that imagine if you're one of the manufacturers of those masks.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
Oh, are we saying that, one of the big pharma companies went over to a little-known Chinese province, threw some, I
Started
guess...
coughing on some apples.
Okay, you have not... You have not...
I was gonna finish your sentence there, buddy. I got you.
You've not correctly understood where this virus came from. It wasn't coughing on apples, but it was something very similar. The suggestion was that it was from a food market, right, where there were live animals that were sort of intermingling, and so a virus transmitted from one to another. So like the SARS one was from bats, right?
Mm.
And I don't know that they know yet where this. Oh,
Oh,
pangolins?
penguins.
No, pangolins. Pangolins. The scaly
That type of.
anteaters. You know
Oh,
the fucking
gross.
like scaly
Yeah,
nose like things.
yeah. I know exactly what
Researchers
they
from
are. Who they are.
Guangzhou claim to have found a 99% identical viral genome in a pangolin sample. That they are protected under Chinese law, but poaching and trading of pangolins for traditional medicine remains common. So maybe it was those bloody pangolins. If I had to pick them, I would have guessed pangolin.
You would have guessed
I guess
penguin.
I'm a bit I'm a bit racist when it comes to them, but dirty
I've seen
fuckers.
I've seen a few pangolins in my time, and
Yeah.
they are scary motherfuckers, dude.
They're
They are
pretty dope.
scary.
Have you seen them walk on hind legs like that?
No.
Ah,
Do they work that way? I'm probably thinking
They-
of the wrong animal,
they-
to be honest.
pangolins.
They're the ones in the tuxedos, you know?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
And they live in Antarctica.
yeah, yeah. And they stand
And
on
they got-
stand on their
And
eggs.
they got scales.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Reptiles.
Pangolins,
Pangolin.
if they hold something, they'll like hold it in their front hands, and then they're just like.
Oh,
They
it's
look
an
like-
armadillo.
They look like very polite, like butlers coming up with some important news for the Lord of the Manor. And they come up and they're like,
So
Everyone
I'm gonna
go-
watch. I'm gonna watch this video right now.
"Can you see a video of a pangolin on it holding things?"
Walking. Yep. Hold on. I'm just gonna give you my real-time reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pangolin. It's an armadillo.
It,
Right?
Well, it looks kind of like it, but it's not. Yeah.
Okay, it's walking. Yeah, it is walking like a butler.
Yeah.
It's so walking like a butler.
Ah.
A nice gentlemanly butler. as
Yeah, it's,
well.
like, very
a polite
friendly.
one. It's got like its hands together.
Yeah.
Does it feel like it could give you a wave?
It's just like, just a cool guy. You know,
Cool.
we've
I
been
bet it
hard on
smells,
we've been hard on pangolins today.
We have,
but
we have.
let's admit that they have some redeeming qualities.
Hey, I'm starting to see why someone might have fucked a pangolin.
Don't know where this energy has come from this episode.
From you.
Well, okay, might be like a vicious cycle. I forget how we got into. Oh, that's where the virus came from. Well, potentially. So it was all Big Pharma, and they're just doing it to sell masks.
Wow.
Did you see that someone has started selling? Speaking of people trying to make money off masks, someone has started selling masks which has the bottom half of your face on it, so that you can wear it and still open like Face ID on your phone without having to take your mask off.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Um,
So you have your own face on your
you
face.
print you print your face on your face. So if you want to use your phone, where a mask would previously obscure the parts of the body that the Face ID check would need, this theoretically can fool it. I'm not convinced, because I think that on an iPhone, for instance, it's doing depth sensing, and I don't know that would work. Anyway, people are trying to make money off this thing, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know if they're trying it. Well, yeah.
That
you'd
person
want to try
is.
and make money
I
off
don't
it.
think. Yeah, I don't think Big Pharma is actively trying to sabotage the Chinese population. But
Wouldn't be the first time.
what do you think it would take for this to become something you seriously worried about? Australian-based death?
Yeah, probably like a Brunswick-based death.
Brunswick. Just if my next door neighbor really just carked it, that's when I'd start to worry.
I don't think I'd worry about it at all.
You don't like your neighbors?
Well, don't get me started on them. But I wouldn't really be that worried. If there were multiple cases, or maybe a friend got it, then I'd be. But I feel like, I mean, why are people dying in Wuhan? Is it because they have pre-existing conditions or not access? They don't have access to proper medical care.
Well, that's a good point. I'm not actually sure that. Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's a severity thing, whether the affected people are susceptible to it. The Chinese government has been playing it very quiet So
A friend told me the other day, I didn't check this up, so it's anecdotal, but apparently Indonesia hasn't said anything about coronavirus or hasn't released a statement on um, members of Indonesia, Indonesians. How many Indonesians have actually been affected, which is
right,
really weird.
yeah.
Because they're people flying in and out of Indonesia from China all the time, and so you'd think that there'd be at least, a few cases of people popping
Catching
up
it,
in,
and yeah,
in Indonesia, and they
yeah.
haven't said anything.
According to China, most of those who died were older patients. About 80% of deaths recorded were from those over the age of 60, and 75% had pre-existing health conditions, including cardiovascular diseases and diabetes. So, yeah, I think it is mostly those with some existing issues where their bodies aren't as capable of fighting off what would be otherwise just a pretty shitty flu.
No, yeah, don't worry about it.
So this is probably a nice way to transition into the sort of second half of this chat, which is how do you approach your own medical care? Are you a proactive person? When was the last time did you go to the doctor? Do you have ongoing worries that you haven't had treated? Are you a quintessential typical mid-30s male with a degree of disregard for your own health and that sort of thing?
I'm so bad at this. The last time I went to the doctor was 6 months ago, and the time before that was probably 10 years.
Wow.
And the only reason I went to the doctor then was because I was having this my hands when I came back from Sri Lanka were peeling and shit.
Yeah.
And I was getting some I had I don't know what it was, dermatitis thing, and it was unbearable. So I just went and got some cream. But I haven't been to the doctor. I mean, I've got a bunch of things that I could go to the doctor for. Let me tell you that. Been shit and blood. Been, I was gonna go to the doctor I was considering seeing a therapist because some of the
You've got a podcast though, so you don't
some
really
of the
need
old yeah, that's I'm gonna say that when I go to the doctor.
that. So it's been 10 years since we've seen you, Michael. How have you been dealing with your? Oh well, got a podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really bad with it. I went to I've been losing teeth. Fuck.
I've been losing tooth.
I've been losing fucking tooth. I've been losing my mind.
I don't know if I've ever explicitly mentioned this on the podcast, an audio medium, but Michael just has one solid entire tooth on the top half of his mouth and one solid tooth on the bottom half of his mouth. And after he had that one ripped out at the vet dentist, now he's just left with the bottom, just one tooth. But you're losing tooth now as well, so gosh, not looking good for old gummy lips over there.
Oh, gummy lips. But I'm really good at eating bark now, so swings and roundabouts.
Yeah,
I bet you're good at going to the doctor.
I'm certainly more willing to, for sure. I have been more regularly because I go for things like migraines. They'll give me scripts for painkillers that cost less than me just bulk buying like Panadol. So easier to go to the doctor, claim that back off my health insurance, and then pick up a free script than otherwise. So I do go more regularly. I don't tend to have like crazy health fluctuations anyway, so I'm pretty good. But as you might expect, I'm very on top of it when it comes to maintenance. So I go to the dentist every year. I go to the cardiologist every 2 years. Those kind of things where I'm like on top of, and that's not me saying everyone needs to go to the cardiologist 2 years. That's just because I had a heart condition. But that kind of ongoing treatment, easy as I'll happily go along to it. So I have that kind of mentality where maintenance of an ongoing health issue is very easy for me. But
Yeah.
I've definitely been to the doctor here in New Zealand probably 10 or 15 times in the 5 years I've been here. So
10 or 15 times.
probably, yeah.
What?
That's 2 to 3 times a year. That's not actually that many.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's actually not. The juxtaposition to your once in 10 years is going to make any kind of regularity seem like a lot. But the other question, I suppose, is when do you think there would again need to be something to happen to you for you to change that? Do you feel like, you just said you have tons of issues. I think that was a joke, but
Partly a joke.
yeah, is there not something that would get you to a doctor? Why do you not go to the doctor if you do have a problem? Is it money?
Well, for one, no, because I mean the doctor's not really.
Yeah, Medicare subsidized.
Let me think about this for a second. Well, I've never really had anything I've never really had anything that serious. Okay, and then also, the idea of going to the doctor's office is very off-putting to me. They've always got like golf magazines. I don't even play golf. And I hate the smell. I hate the sterile environment. And it's just, and what are they going to do? Tell me some bad news?
Okay, so you just don't you're afraid of it.
The real answer is that it's because I'm a child and I'm lazy.
So is it laziness? Just can't be bothered. I'll wait it out.
But if it's not like impacting on my life, like the hands thing, it was. I should have gone to the doctor like probably 2 weeks before I actually did.
Yeah.
It just got unbearable, so that's when I went there. But I've just not really had anything. I mean, I'm just not that type of person. Oh yeah, the other thing is I just realized this. The most obvious answer is that my family doesn't go to the doctor.
None of them?
A rule. Well, my mum started to now because she's had a few health, situations. But I think there is a bit of mentality that I've probably gotten from my parents that's like don't
bother.
Just kind of suck it up.
Yeah.
Suck it up. Don't, tell everyone about your problems.
Did you ever have a childhood illness or something where your parents were like, "Oh, get over it," and it was actually something serious? Like someone was, who is it? Was it Sean? Maybe someone's definitely like broken a foot or something like that, and then gone to their parents and been like, "I broke my foot," and the mum was like, "No, you haven't." And it was like 2 weeks later, it's still purple and swollen, and went back to mum being like, "Mum, my foot still hurts." She's like, "Oh, fine, we'll go to the doctor." Doctor's like, "Yeah, he broke his foot." And so, like 2 weeks without treatment, just walking on it, get over it. And I think there was definitely an era of like parenting, which was, he's being a sook, get over it.
Yeah.
You never had anything as a kid where like you were legitimately hurt or should have probably had parental care, but had medical care, but parents didn't?
I didn't really have any like illnesses or anything. I had like the chickenpox, and I broke a bunch of bones. I broke like probably 6 bones when I was a kid.
Which bones?
Broke my arm, broke my toe twice.
How did you break your arm?
Climbing. I was a big climber.
Climbing trees.
Climbing the swing set, but not the part that you should have climbed. Climbing the top bar of the swing set that's meant to just be just the hold support.
Thing. And you fell off it and broke your arm.
Yeah. And then I went to the doctor then, and apparently, I don't really remember it. I remember being in a cast, and I remember weirdly the smell.
The smell? of the cast.
The smell of being, yeah, the cast in the hospital. I don't know. And my parents took me to a doctor when I broke my arm, and apparently I didn't cry. I just went really white, and I just came in holding my arm, and I said, "Mummy, Daddy, I think I broke my arm." I was a really a pommy kid back
Yeah,
then. And
wore off over time.
and then they took me to the doctor, and apparently the first GP said, "No, he's just bruised his arm." And then I kept throwing up like all night, and then they took me to the emergency, and they were like, "Yeah, it's broken in 2 places."
Oh,
Yeah, but then I broke a bunch of bones, but I wasn't really like sick
yeah.
that much. Were you?
No, I don't think so. Not as a kid. I broke a collarbone as a kid. I had asthma, obviously.
How'd
But
you break your collarbone?
flying fox.
Flying
I
fox?
was
Nice.
yeah.
Good
I
way
was
to
on
go.
if you had to pick. Um, I was there was a game that we played in our junior primary class where the flying fox was actually pretty short, and you didn't really use it to like ride across. But if you just hung off it at the like midpoint and then like flung and let go, it would like zoom across to the end and just clang against the other side and make a really big bang noise. And so that was the fun thing, right? You just like stand there and just like fucking ditch it and make a huge clang.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
I was in the middle preparing to do this, and then as I was getting ready to fling, someone ran through and like sort of, I guess, clotheslined my legs and like knocked me out and off the handlebar, and I just like fucking fell onto the ground straight onto my shoulder. And
Oh no.
I sued the fucking pants off that guy. Now he lives
ya?
under a bridge.
It's a good result.
Yeah.
Sounds like he deserved everything.
Yeah, but so I had it in a sling for many years. But I guess my dad's actually pretty good at going to the doctor. My dad, I mean, he's 67 now, close to 67. He, for as long as I can remember, we all went to the same doctor's practice, and I had the same doctor that he had, and he goes every year, gets the annual checkups. He's very on top of all that thing. I suppose it probably comes from the fact that he worked in the medical industry or works in the medical industry, so he's just used to that thing, and I maybe overcome some of that typical reticence that seems to have just been the norm for a lot of people. But off the back of that, I guess I'd inherited some of that just diligence.
Yeah. I think it might not just be a generational thing. I think part of it, especially with my family, I think is cultural, and I think it's specifically possibly like an Eastern European maybe thing.
Well, I don't know. It seems like a fairly generic trope, isn't it? Like the suburban dad who doesn't go to the doctor. That's an American sitcom trope. That seems like an Australian characteristic. I think it's probably more just generational. I think I think it's probably just, I don't know, when they were growing up in the 60s, medical care was seen differently. And their parents, you know, the expectation about what sort of coverage they'd have for someone who was born in the 20s or 30s, right, would be very different. So we're sort of the first generation maybe that's come up with a scientific teaching at school, with a bit of like a trust in the medical system, and to be completely honest, like an affordable and good coverage sort of national healthcare system as well. So it's probably a little unkind to place the blame entirely on them, but it's certainly been an evolving, I don't know, cultural thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I respect it, to be honest. My parents both taught, I mean, my parents were both teachers, and my dad taught at my school for like years 7 through to 12. So I never got sick days. Like, not even I'd have to. I probably had maybe like 2 sick days in my whole high school career. Um, I was a career high school guy, by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way. Um,
You kept
and
everyone else kept leaving and graduating, and you just kept sticking around year after year.
I was like, I like this. I
Yeah.
want to. I
These
want
are
to
my
get really
people.
good at it.
Hello, fellow
Yeah.
kids.
By the end, there was a yeah. By the end, it was really popular. Um,
You thought I'm going to stick around until I'm the talk of the town, till I finally
yeah,
nail it. I get prom
I was the
king.
talk of the town. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So I never got sick days, and then I never even would ask for sick days. But then I think I've said to you before that I'm not. I don't even know when really that I'm sick. I don't know.
You
I'm
don't
so
know when
like
you're
not.
sick. You're not in touch with your body.
No, no. I'm not in touch with my emotional well-being, and I'm not in touch with my physical well-being. I mean, if I've got a cough, I know that I've got a cough, but it's just like there, and I'm like, oh no, I'm just coughing for the next 2 weeks. But I don't really think about it that much. But I think there's been times when I've been had probably, you know, glandular fever or something, and then I'm just like, I just like
Push
just thought I
through.
was tired or something.
Yeah. Okay,
Probably
so
didn't
let's.
have glandular fever.
Well, you never know. Um, what about one step removed? Not going to the doctor, but do you like if you had a cough or if you had a runny nose, would you use like an over the counter, like a cough syrup, or would you go and get some what do they call it
I'd
over
get
there,
some
like
Sudafed.
Nurofen or Sudafed or something?
I'd get the Sudafed. I like doing that because I like getting the Sudafed because I feel like a cool guy because you have to hand over your ID and they're
Oh,
like when I ask for the Codral and they're like they give you the phenylephrine
yeah.
stuff and I'm like no 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 no
Give me
I
the
need the
give me the
hard
stuff
stuff
with the
and they're like
drugs.
okay what is this guy
So
what
you
does
go
this guy
you
need what
go
do you need
for
the hard stuff for.
you actually go up and you ask for like the good shit.
I ask for the good shit because you get a bit of a buzz off it, and I like doing it. I like mixing it with alcohol. Get a real
Okay,
nice
you'll
buzz.
never get it again.
I don't say that
um,
to them.
no, no.
I just go in
Um,
smelling like alcohol.
is this a thing where, with some thought and consideration, and in fact you're in a little bit of a stable job now, getting into your 30s, is it something where you could make the rational choice in the way that you decided I'm going to quit smoking or I'm going to go to the gym more? Do you think, I'm not saying that you need to off the back of this conversation, but do you think you could just go, okay, I'm just going to go to the doctor more. I'm just going to go next week. I'm just going to get a general checkup and just see what's what. Or do you think you'll wait till you're 40 before you start, taking it seriously, or wait for like an actual, if you got diabetes, like an illness or something like that? Do you see yourself changing the way you approach this?
Probably
Do you
not.
want to?
I would like to know more about my body. I'd like to get the data. I wish if I could just get an app, or they could just go through like a scanner and that could just do it for you, and then just gives you the data for it. That
Yeah.
would be awesome. But it's probably not going to happen. I think likely there'll probably be something in my 30s. I suspect something in my 30s will happen. If not, is already brewing, and it will like get to the point where the symptoms are like too hard to ignore, and then I'll go, and then it'll be like a thing that I'll have to like keep going, and I'll be super bummed about that. But the thing about like I'm totally gonna be one of these guys that like because cancer, if you find it early,
Yeah.
the old cancer. If you find it early, you can
You can tell you don't go to the
treat
doctor
it.
because you use short lingo that no one else uses. Oh, mate, got the old cants.
got the old cancy pants. But I'll go to the doctor, and then it'll be too because I don't go to the doctor, and it'll be like, oh, you've got the cans, but we can't do anything. I'm like,
So knowing
God
that,
damn it.
saying that out loud now, what's stopping you? Why not just go? Because you've
I don't
already
like going
made.
to the doctor's office.
But here's the thing. Like, to me, you've already made so many health conscious choices in the past couple of years. You quit smoking, mostly.
Okay.
Okay. Any addenda to that?
No, just I know that there's going to be a ton of people listening to this. A ton of people.
Yeah. Okay, you've
There'll probably be a few people listening.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, scaled back. Is that still accurate?
That's definitely stop buying.
Stopped buying, only bumming. You're going to the gym more. You're being active. You've already made a lot of. You've gone vegetarian-ish.
Those are all vanity based.
Okay, so
I need a vain incentive.
well, if you go to the doctor, and then it like stops you from having
Alopecia.
yeah, they might pick up something that makes you look sexier.
You make me look sexy.
If you go to the doctor and they do a mole check and they're like, oh, did you know you have all these boils on your back that are just like all pustulous? And you say, yeah, I've had them forever. And they go, well, we can get rid of those. You'd be like, oh my God, I can get rid of my pustulous boils? There you go.
Yeah.
Vanity.
That's a good one. I don't have any boils. I've got a few moles though.
There you go.
And here's another thing. You're going to hate this, but I've been trying to tan more. So I've been getting out in the sun, and I'm not. And this is the honest truth. The honest truth is I'm not using sunscreen. I've been using this tanning oil, and it's.
Is this why you didn't wear a shirt today?
I haven't been tan. I haven't been tan. Oh, I've been trying to tan on the roof because now we got a roof.
Yeah, the last house you stayed in didn't have a roof.
Now it's got a roof I can lie down on.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get my tan on with this tanning oil. It's
My
SPF
God.
30 though. SPF
There's no
30,
such thing as a safe tan.
Yeah, that's just something people say. But I have been noticing I've been getting a lot more moles, and actually some of the other moles that I've had are getting a bit dark as well. Some of them on my back. But that's another decision that I've been actively. And then I watched this 60 Minutes thing on this woman that was I went to like tanning beds, and she got melanomas from the tanning bed.
Yeah.
And she's like dying at 28.
Yeah.
And she's really upset about it. She said, I don't want to die. I'm 28 years old. I just wanted to get my tan on. And every time I put this oil on, I think about that girl. Mm-hmm. And then I think, damn, this oil really looks good on my body. So I don't care anymore. And then I'm,
why don't you just use fake tan?
Halfway through a bottle of Chardonnay. A fake tan.
Yeah. If you want to look like you've got a tan, there are ways to do it which don't cause deadly melanomas.
No, but I like the feeling of the sun on the skin, and your skin feels a bit tighter, and you just got this like nice red glow.
Nice red glow. Like you've been standing next to uranium. Like you're an extra in the background of Chernobyl. You want that real like Ukrainian style red glow from someone who's dying from a high radiation overdose.
Yeah. I like the idea of someone who's just like clearly burnt bright red. I'm like, what do you guys think of my tan? Do you love it?
That's like such an overused comedic trope that it's like tired. If you saw that in a sitcom today, you'd be like, oh, okay, she wanted to go get a tan and now she's bright pink. You are just embodying that actual energy in real life.
What are you going to do? Look, I'm not making good choices with regards to my health.
Oh, what about insurance?
I know that.
Do you have private insurance?
God, no. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I don't even have
property
house insurance. Yeah. Is it called house insurance? Probably not.
Well, you don't.
That's
It's not.
you wouldn't.
You wouldn't need house insurance because you don't own your house, but you would probably need contents insurance given you have contents in it.
Yep, and we've been robbed.
Yep, and you've had
still don't have it.
Houses leaked on mattresses and such.
Yeah, Yeah. No, I should have a lot of things.
Yeah.
But also, who wants to pay? How much is? I don't even know how much health
My health
insurance
insurance
is.
over here is $30 a month.
$30 a month.
Yeah.
Think of how many Big Macs you could buy with that. That's a packet of cigarettes.
Why would I spend $30 a month on health insurance? I mean, I don't know why you're bringing it up because clearly you don't even buy cigarettes anymore anyway. You just borrow them from your friends. So you
I
can feel
borrow
morally
them.
superior.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best part. Telling people you quit. That's what the best part about being a vegetarian is. Telling people you're a vegetarian. You know what the great part about being a vegetarian is? You don't even have to eat. You don't even have to give up meat. You can eat meat basically whenever you want. As long as you just tell people you're a vegetarian, and when you go out to dinner with other people, you just get the vegetarian option. Easy.
Do you think that there's perks to saying you're a vegetarian? Probably in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Probably in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that this isn't public or broadcast to any of your friends and peers.
Wait, what?
Oh, no.
Are we on?
Are we on?
No, I was
Okay.
joking.
That's an
about-
interesting insight.
That was a joke. The last bit was.
You sent me
Mostly.
a picture of you eating a salmon steak the other day.
I do eat fish
To eat fish.
and Big Macs.
To everyone else out there, be interested to know how you're tracking with your physical health. I hope you're all doing well. And if you have any suggestions for ways that Michael could improve himself physically, mentally, or aesthetically, please send it through, and I'll be sure to pass it on.
I've got more things to say, Nick.
Okay.
Because what's another big one about the sleep thing? The health thing is the sleep.
Yeah.
That's a big health thing. That's. I've been using this. I've been using actually this app. Who, funnily enough, is today's sponsor, by the way, Sleep Cycle. Go get the Sleep Cycle app. It's $15, one-off payment. It's great. It tracks. Well, your phone already tracks how many steps you take. Steps when your phone is in your pocket. It doesn't know the steps when it's just sitting, on the bench. But it tracks your sleep, and I've been tracking my sleep every night for the last 3 months. And basically, what that has told me is that I do not get much sleep. I average 5.5 hours a night.
5.5. Okay,
Over-
so tell me
over
the
3
the
months.
window. When do you go to bed, and what time do you set your alarm for?
Well, average time I go to bed, I'm reading here, 2:02.
2:02 a.m. And what time do you set your alarm?
Usually 9:30.
2:02. So what's that? 7.5 hours sleep on the clock, and you get 5 hours of actual sleep.
Yeah.
This would literally
Right.
kill me. This I would not be able to.
It's the problem is falling asleep. I can't fall asleep. I fall asleep. It takes me ages to fall asleep, and then I don't stay asleep.
Is that? I mean, there are sleep. What do they call it? Sleep hygiene sort of things you can do to improve that, like not eating just before you go to bed, not watching screens if that's a trigger. Do you tend to end up, I don't know, drink, immediately go and fall and sleep, or like out all night and then come home from work and then just go straight to bed? Or is this the case in terms of struggling to get to sleep, even if you were theoretically doing quote unquote it all right?
I think part of the problem is a lack of regularity or consistency. But then part of it, when the lights go off, so usually what I try and do is I'll get to bed and I'll go on my phone or I'll read and try and fall asleep that way. I mean, I know that going on the phone's not a good way to fall asleep, but when the lights go off and I've got no more stimuli, then my thinking goes into like overdrive, and then I'm thinking about everything, and then all the worries come up, and then all the things that I got to, what I said to that dickhead yesterday, or what I have to do in the future, or why I didn't get this fucking job and shit. And it's all just there, and it's all just swirling around, and then I'm just like actively trying to think of something else, like I'm trying to like hold off
Talk
an
your
orgasm,
brain.
thinking about my grandma. Like I'm actively trying to be like, think about something else, keep thinking about something else, think about boobies, think about pizza, and and then it's just this war, and I think I just get tired of that war, and that's when I fall asleep.
Yeah. So are those times that you've set, they're the result of your work obligations? So you might get home from the bar at 1 a.m. or something like that, and then 2 is when you can sort of go to sleep? Or are you actually able to try and go to bed at midnight, but you just don't feel like it?
Well, I don't really work nights anymore, really. So I usually, on average, I get into work at about 10, and then I'll be like 10. I'll do 10 to 6.
Sure. So those hours that you've set are lifestyle hours. That's you staying up, watching TV, having a drink, going out, and 2 o'clock's just when your body clock is ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I always want to do stuff, though. I always want to, like, watch a show or, listen to music or something. I always want to do stuff. I don't like going to bed. But then, I mean, it's like the disconnect between your present self and your future self. I'm like, whenever it gets to 1:30 a.m., I'm like, I'll just watch 30 more minutes of this thing, and I'll just be a bit tired tomorrow.
So the 9:30 in the morning is because you've got a 10 a.m. work.
So it's 9. It's 9. Sorry,
It's 9. Okay.
So yeah. That was just the last one. That was just today because it was the radio.
So what did you say? 2 to 9. That would be your average kind of window.
Yeah.
So why not actively try going to bed at midnight for like a month? Decide that, it's March, it's going to be sleep month, and I'm just going to go to bed at 12 as regularly as I can, and see whether or not those that lag time from you putting your head on the pillow, thinking about all your anxieties, and then finally falling asleep, whether that lag time is inbuilt or whether it's actually something that would go away if you were getting more sleep or more regularity to it.
Yeah, I could do that, but then I'd get FOMO of myself. I'd be thinking about all the things that I could be doing,
but
like watching Pornhub.
Not any of the videos on Pornhub, just the main page.
Just scrolling through.
Yeah.
See what everyone else is watching.
Yeah.
What's hot in Australia? I'm always fascinated by that. What are the guys in Australia watching, and how is it that different to everywhere else?
I wouldn't know. The choice there is that like missing out, right? It is such a weird thing to overcome. Like, it's wasted time, right? We talked about this a little bit when we did a sleep chat a few months ago, right? The idea that sleep is wasted is so bizarre. Like, it's a biological necessity. And I think that there's a better chance that you would actually enjoy other things, feel more like switched on, be more creative when writing music, be like enjoy, I don't know, time with your girlfriend more in a way that validates the extra hour and a half you quote unquote lost from going to bed at a more reasonable hour, right? Like, it's not simply thrown away time. There are actual manifest benefits.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think it comes down to like this, the present self versus the future self, and we've talked about that before. But that you in your head, you actually compartmentalize it like it's a different person, like your future self is a different
person to you, yeah.
And that problem for me specifically manifests in many ways. In terms of not being able to wait for the second marshmallow.
Yeah. And so I guess sleep is the same thing, right? It's if you just put off watching this other episode or whatever, you'll feel so much better in the morning but you're like, fuck it, I just want the marshmallow. And then
Yeah.
future person
That's
is goes hungry. Speaking of the sleep
And
cycle,
future person.
sleep cycle app, I think I recommended it to you years ago, because if you see there, my earliest date on the graph,
Jan 11.
2011. So I have
Wait.
nearly a
Wait,
decade.
do you use the Sleep Cycle app?
Yeah,
Did you tell me about it?
potentially. But yeah, I have nearly a decade's worth of sleep data on this app now. Times that I went to bed, my sleep quality, the regularity, how many hours I get for 9 years.
How many hours do you snore?
Not very much.
Or minutes?
2 minutes by the average.
Ooh.
2 minutes
I'm
out
like
of
half an
9
hour.
hours. Yeah. Well, I
Wait.
mean that's not a huge surprise, is it?
Okay, buddy. Bit of a low blow, that one.
Yes, I retract it. I know
we
how
solve-
vain you are.
Yep.
I got a relative.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, blah, blah.
Shall we do it
Blah,
after the?
blah, 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 blah. You go.
If you've enjoyed this, thank you so much. It's a real compliment. We just want you to enjoy it, and so if you have, then that is good. You can find more things to enjoy at deepfort.podbean.com. You can send us your suggestions for Michael's Look at deepfort@gmail.com, or just jump onto facebook.com/deepfort and send a message that way. Reach us on twitter.com/deepfort. Find the songs and jingles at soundcloud.com/deepfort. And just generally have a good day. And, guys, go to the doctor more. Get your prostate checked. These are important things that you need to take seriously. And it's better for you to find out now, is the general medical message. Don't wait. Go get it looked at. You'll feel better.
I'm scared about that as well. I don't want any bums. I don't want any if I've got intestinal issues, I don't want to. I don't know what are they going to do. If they'd be like, we need to check your colon, Michael, I'd be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
I'll check it myself.
Isn't it better to get that sorted in an earlier, easier way at the doctor than having a bloody colonoscopy?
What's it called? I don't want any of it. I'll just die. I'll just die.
No, go to the doctor. Get it checked out.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, sorry, go
How
ahead.
do you feel about your own age right now? Are you starting to look in the mirror and be like, I'm getting old? Or
No, I think I'm getting sexier, but I'm definitely getting grey hair.
Well, that's irrefutable. But yeah, the grey hairs. I'm getting big time greys.
Yeah.
And the big bad boys.
I'm not too fussed about that yet. I don't feel
Well,
like I'm old.
we're men. We we haven't even hit our peak yet.
Well, we're man.
We're mans. We're gonna get to our peak's gonna be. Well, your peak's already. Your peak's about probably 30. You're probably peak at 32. I'll probably peak at 42.
Yeah. But yours is a very sharp peak where it falls off quite quickly afterwards.
Yeah. Was that a nose joke?
Actually, no, it wasn't. No, that was just you're going to die.
Showed
at
my
like
insecurity
45.
then, didn't I?
Yeah.
Always got to be waiting for that nose joke at any time.
Go see a counselor. I can't remember. Who cares?
The laugh
Whatever.
that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
That one.
Cool.
Everyone loves a nose joke at Mikey's expense. That was a health thing I had. Had a nose thing.
You had a nose thing.
Yeah, I had a nose thing. Broke my nose a couple of times.
Oh, that explains it.
Because of people like you. Bullies like you.
You tried to
keep
get it
coming-
straighter?
I actually did. It's actually sad.
Okay, well, you have to tell it now.
I basically got a nose job.
Why is that sad?
Because it was 13.
So, was it voluntary or because of bullying?
No, it was... Was it voluntary?
Yeah,
I
like,
didn't.
did you go to an ENT and say, I want to fix my nose? Or did someone punch you in the face and then you had to get surgery?
No, no. It was I broke it playing football, but then my my parents were like, "We're gonna get your nose. We're gonna pay for you to get your nose straightened." And I was like, "Oh, would they be able to give me the old?"
Smoothie
Because they
doozy.
said apparently what they do is they break your nose again,
Yeah.
and then re
Put it in the right place.
put it piece it back together. And I was like, well, if you're doing that,
Yeah.
can you give me a few degrees off, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they did. Not enough for you to stop making jokes, obviously. If I could go back in time, I'd say
Yeah.
give me the good
6% more.
stuff.
Yeah.
Give me the Jay Aniston.
No, I mean, the thing with your nose is it's a great nose. Like, it's a quintessential nose. It is like the right pointiness, it's the right angle. It's just 15% too big.
You're such a
But
dickhead.
it's
I
in
was
scale.
so set up for the. I actually love your nose. I know I've been joking all this time, but I actually love your nose. And then you did that, and then you kicked me in the dick. Still.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.